Who's the next guy?
We have one more signing.
you know who it
and it's
is.
the big boy, Lauri Markkanen.
Markkanen.
Signed a 5-year, $238 million contract extension with the Utah Jazz. Absolutely deserved. Should have honestly been paid more, for being honest, looking at some of these other deals that have gone down. Look, I mean,
He's one of my favorite players.
23, 8, and 2 on 48, 40, 90 shooting last season.
28. Wow.
23.
Oh, 23. I think you said
23,
28. I'm like, whoa.
23, 8 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay.
Obviously, in 2023 was an all-star, was the most improved player by a very wide margin. And look, before we kind of get into the whole Utah thing, we gotta be critical of the old Golden State Warriors, because man, this was a missed opportunity. Utah was ready to give up Lauri Markkanen, but they refused to get off of Brandin Podziemski. And look, I'm gonna just say I'll say my piece about that in a little bit. I'll leave the floor to you first.
The Warriors, well, if you're bringing in Lauri, that means Kuminga goes, which of course he takes. But I think they have more confidence in Kuminga and Podziemski right now compared to Lauri.
That's not what they did though. They were fine giving up Kuminga. They refused to get off of Pods. He was untouchable.
They view Pods as the point guard of the future for them. Once Steph retires, that's what the report said.
Right.
That's why Pods wasn't going. Yes, but I think Lauri is the player that the Bulls should have kept to rebuild around, who they did not give the money to, and then went off to Cleveland.
Because they didn't use him right. Who also didn't use him right.
Cleveland did not use him right. Now he gets paid, and he was so disrespected for not getting money after Chicago. Now he got it finally.
He didn't play that well in Chicago.
He was good.
Chicago was great.
But Chicago didn't untap that potential that Utah did.
Exactly.
Right. So
I think in Utah, this is their building piece for the team.
Yeah.
If they do decide to trade him in 6 months, then that's another team.
He cannot be traded until July 15th of next year.
I've read 6 months.
No, when you sign the 5-year deal, you're untouchable for the entire season.
Okay. So next July, if his value skyrockets past what Utah was asking, then you move him. Or if not, you keep him.
Well, it really depends on if anyone wants to trade for him.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. But look, I get it, the whole Pods thing. Like, I get he's going to be really good. Yes, there's probably some Steve Nash fantasies because he went to Santa Clara. But, look, you got to make sacrifices sometimes. And if you're trying to maximize Steph's post-dynasty, you have to make the move. I can't see why you would leave that on the table. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Because I think Lauri on the Warriors is a humongous upgrade on this current version of Andrew Wiggins, who I think also probably would have gone in the deal as well.
Yep.
And look, at the end of the day, it's just you got to do what you got to do with these trades. Do you think the Nets really wanted to give up Karis LeVert and Jared Allen for James Harden? No, but you have to do it. Did you really think we wanted to give up Mikal Bridges? We didn't want to. But when you get 6 first-round picks, you can't say no to that. As much as you want to keep the guy. So, to me, I hope this doesn't come back to bite the Warriors in the ass, but it looks like it probably will. Because we saw Steph say, he's not, he didn't fully commit to the Warriors for the rest of his career. So you never know what could happen in the future.
Yeah. I think someone wrote an article from ESPN about Draymond and Steph, how they were feeling, and they're excited about the additions they brought in, which were Kyle Anderson, Melton, and Buddy Hield. Of course, coming off with your rookies as well, Pods, Kuminga. I think Kevon Looney's back. You still have Wiggins there. Wiggins should get moved. He should not be there anymore. I don't know. They could have gotten rid of him with the Lauri deal, but of course you got to give up your 2 guys, Pods, Kuminga, some picks here and there.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of stuck with a starting lineup of Trace Jackson Davis, Lauri Markkanen, Draymond, and who's your shooting guard? No idea.
Moses Moody probably.
Moody.
Or even Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield.
I think
which isn't bad at all.
That team's way better without him.
But you lose your future.
Right, but at the end of the day, what would you rather do? Would you rather be passive and lose Steph, or would you rather try and maximize Steph and then...
But even with Lauri, they're not getting past the top 3.
I don't know. You never know. I think right now there's 2 or 3 teams really clear at the top, but I think Lauri would have unlocked something for Steph and the Warriors.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think they're beating Denver. They're not beating. They could beat OKC possibly.
They're
not
contending.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I think that team is easily better than I think the team's easily better than, experience-wise, better than OKC. I think OKC will probably finish with a higher regular season record. I think that team beats Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that team's top 3.
I think that team's top 4 at worst.
Why are we discounting Ant so much? Minnesota's there.
Anthony Edwards can't pass out of a double team.
Well, we got
I disagree.
look how he looks in the Olympics
He was
right now.
terrible today.
I know, but previous game.
Exactly, but that's kind of the thing. That's the one thing I've always had with Edwards and Embiid. They're good, yes, but they can't pass out of double teams, and it just completely stagnates the offense.
That's all he was doing was passing out of the double team.
For
What do you mean he can't pass out of a double team?
who?
Edwards.
Edwards, he struggles with it. I'm not saying he can't. He struggles with it. It's not something whenever he passes out of the double team, he either turns the ball over or it just doesn't lead to a basket because they're not finding the right guy. That's essentially what it is. And that's, you'll notice in those games Denver won last season, they trapped Edwards in the double team, and he can't do it. In the mic'd up session, he told Jamal, stop trapping me. And he said, we can't. That's really all you can do. But even still, I think the bigs are an issue for Minnesota, but that's a story for another day. I still don't think those two can work together. And I think the Warriors, Draymond's obviously smart, a veteran, Hall of Famer. Trace Jackson Davis is he's a very surprising rookie last year. He was actually really good. So I think Lauri would have unlocked something for them that they were missing, like 2022 Wiggins.
Yeah. It's a GM's decision at the end of the day, and if they saw nothing to pull the trigger on them that makes them significantly better right now, if they think that their young core of Pods, Kuminga, Jackson Davis, I don't think they see it in Wiggins, of course. I think Wiggins is just there because they can't move off of him, but they see something what they have. You got to trust the GM. If they don't work out, then you kind of look back at it and say, crap, I should have traded for Lauri.
Yep.
But that's something to see down the line if, these guys are the future for your team right now for the Warriors once post-Steph era, then you figure it out. They're still going to have their draft picks. They're going to figure it out. But I don't think it's a loss that tremendously for them. I think it definitely stings to lose on an all-star caliber player like him who's only probably going to improve more and more.
Yeah.
And your rookies are kind of just developing. They're not really at a point where they're all-stars. So you're kind of just watching them grow. Lauri, you're kind of knowing what you're going to get every day from him, which is probably just great games overall, a great person in the locker room, veteran guy. So it's kind of a balance. You're balancing out what you have now and what you could have.
Yeah.
And I think the Warriors, they, even with the draft pick capital, you're giving up some draft picks with your current picks as well. So it's it's a different situation for them,
right,
compared to the Knicks with our 6 first round picks.
Right.
That's what I feel like it is.
So, yeah, it's obviously dependent on who views what, but obviously congratulations to Lauri Markkanen, well-deserved bag, finally getting the recognition he deserves. And yeah, any final thoughts? This segment's gone on for over 40 minutes. It's crazy.
Utah's not a bad place to be from. They're in a good spot coming soon, hopefully.
They're going to be good. I think they can make a playoff push in a year or two.
Yeah.
So even this year, they can mess around and Lauri can get them like an 8 seed or a 9 seed or whatever.
Yeah.
So we shall see.